Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. I'll say it again. It is the day before Thanksgiving. Welcome to the show. Hey now, 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 hey now. I am so excited. Let me tell you something. I could get under a blanket and watch a movie, something I haven't done in the longest time. Just something about entering the holidays. I don't buy into the consumerism of it all. We've talked about this, but just the feeling that tomorrow's Thanksgiving. I just want to get under a blanket with a hot cup of coffee, maybe watch Star Wars, relax. Jeez, it's nice. The year is behind us. We're almost done with it. And on we go. 253-263-1540. Listen, let me tell you something. Because growing up, one of my favorite things to watch, like ever.
Hey now.
Ellis, please. I'm trying to start the show. I don't need you jumping in. Now I lost my train of thought, Ellis. So growing up, one of my favorite things to watch was like how movies were made. And more than any other television production, I was obsessed with how movies are made. I love Star Wars. Did you know that in Return of the Jedi, Jabba the Hutt has something like 8 little people? He's a puppet. He's a giant puppet. And there's like 8 little people inside of him. One guy is just kicking bellows to make him breathe. Another guy's just smoking a cigar. And the smoke's trickling out of Jabba's pipe. And my dad would take me to these car shows. And I just wanted to see the Batmobile. Now, ultimately, I would see everything and enjoy it all. I just wanted to see the Batmobile. And it was so cool to me that it was real. And it's that magic. It's that magic of movie making that, Walt Disney leveraged into creating Disneyland. It's filmmaking, it's special effects, that created Disneyland. And where else, when you say you're going to build something of the magnitude of Disneyland, where else would you lean? You're going to lean on the guys that make movie magic. Now you're just going to bring it into the real world. I went to IAPA the other day. And as impressive as it is, you have to stop and take a look back. And it's become very, very modular, very turnkey. It really is easy to build a theme park today. And if you're running a company like the Walt Disney Company, you really can buy anything off the shelf and slap your sticker on it, your brand, your IP, and call it a day. In many ways, gone are the days of conceptualizing something from the ground up. I'm fascinated how social media clickbait has made so many things that are obvious, or at least obvious to me, and then in turn, I think they're obvious to so many others. I saw a post a couple weeks back. I'll use Star Wars, because Star Wars is another great special effects example. I mean, it was revolutionary in the way that movies were made, correct? Yes, thank you, Royce. Glass mat photography. When Obi-Wan Kenobi is walking around the Death Star, and it looks like he could fall at any minute when he's trying to disarm the power source. I'm trying to simplify it and not use Star Wars terms. It looks like he could fall at any minute. He's all the way up there. No, he's not. It's a piece of glass in front of the camera. It's called glass mat photography. So they'll paint, and then they'll put it in front of the lens, and then in the dead space, because it's painted on glass, you look through to what is real, and then by basically doing what used to be considered a double exposure, you're now creating the illusion that we're somewhere else. When in actuality, spoiler alert, the actor is 6 feet off the ground in a warehouse in Southern California. Or maybe England. But still, I digress. So, growing up, I would love to, my dad would take me to the car shows. I would be like, where's the Batwing? You remember Tim Burton had the where's the Batwing? And the guy would be like, there's no Batwing. I'm like, no, there's a Batwing. Like 8 years old. Where's the Batwing? There's no Batwing. I saw it in the movie. There's a car. The car is here. There was a Batwing. He was flying that. He was driving the car. Where's the Batwing? Guy would be like, sir, could you please tell your son that it was made of wood? Because he's not listening to me. Because like the rubber duck that the Penguin and Batman returns, and that everything was there but the Batwing. And the guy's like, no, it's made of wood. And I'm like, I got to go back and watch this movie. And I'm like, a little kid. And I'm like, I actually don't know how old I was. And it's embarrassing because I might have been 12. But I'm going back and I'm watching it. And I'm like, it doesn't look like wood to me. But that was the magic of it all. And that inspired me. And when I look at some of these things that I see, and look, unfortunately, social media becomes the breeding ground for so many things. And unfortunately, whether it's good or bad, it's omnipresent, right? So it becomes the source material for so much conversation. And I don't know sometimes if people are just saying things for clickbait or if they mean them. So in the case of what I'm about to say, I assume it's pure clickbait. But here is a post, and I would imagine it's clickbait because it's surrounded it's posted during, the Wizard of Oz. Now, again, I don't know when this originated, right? But it's a picture of the bubble that's like superimposed of Glinda arriving, and it says how cheap the effects are. And I'm sure it's clickbait because it's timely. Like, I'm sure it's clickbait, right? But how cheap are these effects? And people are saying it's a cinematic classic. And when we talk about the changes that are being made to the theme park, to Disney, part of what I take umbrage with is the sterilization, and those unique things that you would go to Disney to experience that you wouldn't see elsewhere are becoming few and far between. Something like the Carousel of Progress. Few and far between. And it becomes more and more a place filled with stock amusements. And I made the comment yesterday, it would be so easy to build your own theme park, but it would. It is too easy to build your own theme park. But the problem is the line has become so blurred between an amusement park and a theme park, and Disney is becoming closer to Universal, which, despite using IP and claiming to be a theme park, in many ways is a hyper amusement park. You go to Six Flags. Six Flags has Bugs Bunny. Nobody's calling Six Flags a theme park, are they? Maybe I'm wrong. Call me. 253-263-1540. Somebody, please drop that in the chat. 253-263-1540. So I think it's clickbait, but it gives me a reminder to say that this is why we got to be inspiring that next generation, right? So whether it's through storytelling, feature films, television, personally, I think the movie-going experience, the experience of going to the cinema, which was so special, is dead. It started dying when I was in high school. I think it's all but dead. When I see a trend, and I promise I'll stop talking about Wicked eventually, but when I see a trend that people are posting the opening picture of the opening shot of Wicked, Like, you're not supposed to be shouldn't even have your phone out. Why are we eating in movie theaters? I got to smell your buffalo wings. I'm trying to watch Wicked. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm complaining ahead of time. I got to smell your buffalo wings, and I'm trying to watch Wicked. I'm just trying to figure out how we got here, and I got to smell your buffalo wings and your blue cheese and your celery. I'm just waiting to hear popular. So I'm just saying that when you choose to come at a company like Disney because you don't like what they're doing, I think it's empty outrage. But if we actually remember that the concept of it all, the inspirational aspects of it all, the things that make it so special, those are the things that we're really losing, right? And I don't, I understand the pursuit of expanding the business and all of this, and I disagree with some of the approach, but I also understand it, right? Like, you have to. Like, I knew Muppets was coming. We've talked about this. But what I'm simply saying is I see less and less of the things that inspired me as a kid. And maybe I'm missing it. Laura called in yesterday and talked about it, and it exists in smaller areas. But if I'm Disney, if I'm a company like Disney, like, you should have a Disney Quest. You should have a place that I really don't. I mean, I say STEAM and STEM. I really do not like the term STEAM and STEM. It's the oversimplification of math and science and art and technology, right? So what do we used to call that? Like, it was a combination of things. It was liberal arts, which, gosh, that sounds horrible. And then, and that's sarcasm, relax. And the math and science, right? So now we have to simplify it, right? And it's got to be cute, right? So it's got to be STEAM and STEM, and we couldn't pick one because nobody could agree at whatever that meeting was held. Whenever they held the STEAM and STEM meeting, half of the room said, well, you can't forget art, and the other half of the room said art is everywhere. And I said, yeah, but you can't forget it. So then they said, well, I'll tell you what, we'll split the difference. You call it STEAM, we'll call it STEM. Everybody understands what we're talking about. Couldn't even agree on that. But what I'm saying is like, when you start to, and that's why a Disney Quest would be so fantastic right now, because it would really feed into all those things. And actually, it's an opportunity for Disney to sell more of the crap they love to sell, right? They'll sell you the Spider Bot. It's not robotics. It's an RC-controlled toy. Even Build-A-Droid, which is a fun experience, is turning a couple screws. There's no programmatic aspect to it. So, and at one point, when Disney used to have an incubator program. What is an incubator program? Disney would invest in different companies, particularly it was tech incubator, so different tech companies. And they invested, and I've talked about this company before, in a company called Sphero. And Sphero was a little robotic toy, and again, funny enough, I talked to Laura about this. But Sphero is a robotic toy you can program, simplistic in the way you program it, nonetheless, but you can program it. And they abandoned the relationship. So I just, it all connects, and it's really not hard to see. Like, it all connects. I brought up the correlation between Apple and Pixar yesterday, and that's technology and movie making and all of this tied in one. But when I see comments like that, and I'm reminded of the things that inspired me as a kid, the movie magic. One of the reasons I love the Indiana Jones stunt show is because I used to see it as a little kid, and in real life get to see how he survived the boulder, see the spikes come up from the ground, and I get to talk to them afterwards. And as a little kid, I would always go up and I would talk to them afterwards. And when you used to have audience participation, I 2-3 times as a kid did I participate in that Indiana Jones stunt show. And that's what I loved about the studio. That's what I loved about MGM, is that it was movie magic. So we're losing that, and that's one of those things that I wish we had more of. And when I see a post like that, even though I recognize it's clickbait, It is that sort of like it's cute to be dumb sort of thing that we've got going on in our social media, where it's like, oh, let me just be like snarky and silly and stupid all in one, and it'll be cute, and you'll get outraged, and I'll make money, but then somebody else out there will actually agree with you because they don't realize the tone of your post. And I just look at that, and I'm like, do they still teach filmmaking? I remember having a teacher in high school who we sat in class and watched movies. It was literally a movie, like a film class, and we talked about auteur theory, and we talked about mise en scene, and we really broke down the difference between, an auteur and a director. I like, do they even teach that to kids? Is that an option? I don't know. To me, at one point, I wanted to be a movie director, and I've directed a couple movies. All right, but what inspired me, the same thing that inspired me, that magic is the same thing that feeds my love of Disney and feeds my love of theme parks. Because when Walt was looking to build Disneyland, he leaned on special effects people. He leaned on movie makers. It's one universe. So I just saw that post, and I was like, oh, God, really? Like, are these young kids really? And I feel old, but I'm like, are these young kids really, really that? Like, do you really like, I understand you're desensitized, so you look at that, like, and you think, oh, that's a cheap special effect. Oh, my gosh, how lame. How can you call that a classic? But, like, if we're not teaching that, the Twister, the tornado, what in the Wizard of Oz, Dorothy, it's a twister, whatever it is. That's my Aunt Em impression. So that's on a drill. That's a stocking filled with cotton on a drill in front of a two-way mirror. When the Terminator melts down and becomes liquid metal, it's mercury out of a thermometer being pushed around by a hairdryer. The simplest techniques in the world, when seen properly through the lens of a camera, are magic. And we don't, like, I remember being a little kid and seeing behind the scenes of movies where Gizmo was like clearly there by himself doing his thing. And I'm like, oh, wow, they made that whole movie, but the Gizmo was real? Like, so I don't know. And again, maybe I'm just getting old, but, and to the conversation yesterday with Laura, I'm sure it exists out there with some smaller, and I say smaller relative to a legacy media company, but some smaller content creator, tapping into that. But from the larger perspective, you don't see that coming from a company like Disney, who could easily be using the Epcot of it all to do these things. Like, you could easily be having Epcot experiences teaching kids STEAM and STEM. Just a reoccurring theme here on the show. 253-263-1540. But I loved all of these things growing up. And, like, by the way, I didn't research these. I just have a list. I didn't research these special effects. This stuff rattles around in my head. The way that Jim Henson would make the puppets work in Labyrinth. It was nuts. The first time that they got Kermit and Piggy on a bicycle. Nobody had done that stuff before. There was no computers used there. That's rods and strings and camera angles. And by the way, I mean, you look at it, and it's like sustainable. It's not a 1 or a 2 second shot. I mean, that is the sequence of Kermit and Piggy on the bikes is epic. So it goes back to the conversation Monday morning about the Muppets and all these other things. Part of the problem with getting rid of these things, and it's lost on a lot of people, right? It isn't just a theme park attraction. Jim Henson's legacy, much like Walt Disney's legacy, should be an inspirational story for future generations. And again, I don't have kids. I don't have to care about any of this. I just know what got me where I am, wherever the hell that is. Sitting upstairs in an empty bedroom, talking to a blanket hanging over a closet so it absorbs the sound, hoping somebody cares what I have to say. But even so, here I am, right? And I just think about these changes from a different perspective. I'm not outraged because a theme park is being changed and I'm going to miss it. I'm bummed that there's no respect for legacy and there's no desire to educate on these things. You know that little exhibit? Ellis loves this exhibit. I wish Ellis would call in to discuss this. But you know that little exhibit, One Man's Dream? It doesn't have great reception, so I try to stream it. But, like, you go in there, right, and there's so much information. There's so much information about the history and the different achievements of Walt Disney, of one man. But it's buried in the corner. Okay, there's an amazing movie back there that is so inspirational. But it is the tiniest little bit of square footage on a 40 square mile property, relegated, designated to honoring the legacy of the founder. It is a pocket in a corner that most people don't even notice because they're racing to Toy Story. You got to go to Slinky Dog. Oh, there's 90-minute wait for Slinky Dog. That's short. We got to get in the line. That's great. Oh, my God, it's only 90 minutes. It's like an hour and a half. You can put the kid in the stroller, give him the iPad. That's 3 Blueies. They got beer. So for me, it's not just like gutting, a ride or a show. It's the overall. The problem for me is that the farther and farther, the more distance that there is between us and the legacy of these figures, the more distance, the less and less we are reminded and the less and less we appreciate them. And that for me is the gripe. Okay? That for me is the gripe. When you start to dismantle Liberty Square and the rivers of America and subsequently make your way down to Main Street, which, mark my word, one day will be Mickey Avenue instead of Main Street, because why do we have to honor Main Street? No, these kids don't know anything about Main Street. Kids don't know what a street is. Kids don't have streets. Kids don't go in the street. But Mickey Avenue, it's Mickey. Huh? Hey, kids, give me your money. Like nobody. It's just, so where is the core desire to remember where we came from? And even when we talk about something as silly as movie making, look at the technological achievements. Look at the way that affected the modern world. Look at the way that things like entertainment and technology have fed the way that we live and changed the way that we operate as individuals. I was going to say human beings, but some days when I look around, that term's a stretch. 253-263-1540. And speaking of human beings, this guy Tom, by the way, because I'm griping about the Muppets and Rivers, this guy Tom, who's out there, the ultimate Disney shill, he calls himself, I'm the world's biggest resource for Walt Disney World News. No, you're the biggest resource for, I can't say what I want to say right now, for consuming all things Disney through a manner in which I would like to describe, but I can't. And even though it feels like a Friday, it's not a Friday. And let's just say when it's all said and done, you can get knee pads anywhere, even Amazon. But I mean, what a shill. What a shill. You're like you'll justify anything they do. And it's like, and the problem I have with you is no, like you have an audience, and you have an audience of people that some people you'll sway. Well, I mean, if Tom says it, I mean, it's Tom. I mean, he's been around forever. He's the biggest, the Disney news guy. It's Tom. The next time I see this guy at a media event, and I don't go to many media events, they don't invite me for good reason, but next time I see this guy at a media event, I am so going up to him and just being like, do they pay you? Or is it just the free food? I think I know the answer. But look, the company is not infallible. And I don't care that you change the parks. I'm looking at it from the broader perspective. And if you think it's just me being like hippy dippy or whatever the hell you want to call it, it's actually business. Because if you don't inspire the next generation, who the hell is going to build your theme park? Who's going to make your movies? Who's going to push new boundaries that are going to unlock new revenue streams? The ghost of Bob Iger passed? Do you know how bad the reviews are for Moana 2? All I'm reading is every 20 minutes, the weekly plot is reinforced in Moana 2. I heard they still left in the coming up next week. It's literally every 20 minutes in the movie in Moana 2. Coming up next week on Moana. And you're like, what? That's not true. I know some, you know what? Because there's some dumb TikTok site out there that probably would spread a rumor like that to convince half of the people. Did you know the castle burnt down? No, it didn't burn down. It's retractable. It went to the ground. You're stupid. 253-263-1540. But I was just thinking about that. That's all. Just thinking about that 26-minute rant. That's all. Just a little thought I wanted to share with you. Because for me, and I've said this so many times, when you have the same level of outrage for everything, nobody's going to listen. And there's a bunch of nerds out there that are crying right now because they're losing whatever. Oh my God, they got rid of the Dumbo churro. Oh my God, I gotta get in a funeral attire and I gotta go and I gotta shoot a video because they got rid of the Dumbo churro. Oh my God, the Dumbo churro. Like, get a life. But when I'm talking, but disrespecting the founder, where's the outrage for that? I don't see one video of somebody going, "Hey man, why aren't we honoring and respecting the legacy of Jim Henson?" Not one. But you made a fakakta, you're sitting Shiva at Pizza Rizzo. Who does this? You're a grown woman. Still don't understand the hype for Pizza Rizzo. I really don't. 253-263-1540. Let's go to the phones. Hey now.
Hey, it's Keena.
Keena, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm okay. Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. You know, I don't really know when my birthday is.
What?
I don't know when my birthday is. Sorry.
Well, that's a showstopper.
Yeah, like my birth certificate says the 25th, my driver's license says the 25th, but my mom swears it's the 26th. So the year I was born, 1970, I'll say that, I don't care. The year I was born, Thanksgiving Day, was on a Thursday. Like Thanksgiving is always a Thursday. But the year I was born, it's my birthday. She said, I know you were born on Thanksgiving Day. So if, you look at the retro calendar or whatever, it was the 26th.
Was she not there?
She was there.
Well, how is this even a conversation? Wait a second. How is this a conversation if she was there? Like, I know when I was born, I was there.
She went into labor on the 25th. I know. She went into labor on the 25th, okay? The nurses switched over. It was like 11:30 at night.
Oh, you're blaming it on...
were changing.
Okay, blaming it on operations. That's my move. All right, go ahead.
Yes. So, yeah, she
wait a second.
knows that I was born after midnight on the 25th.
This is Kina, you're like shot out of a cannon. How much have you drank this morning? Coffee.
I've just had my Dr. Pepper, that's all.
Diet Dr. Pepper?
Yep.
Don't drink diet soda, Kina. It's horrible for you. It's so bad. Just drink regular. Go get the stuff from Texas with the real original sugar. With sugar, original sugar. The real stuff that'll kill you. No, but because there's so much synthetic stuff in diet soda, it's really, really poison.
But it's 0 calories.
That's why, because it's got like phenylketonuria in it. It's got like aspartame and stuff in it. It does. It's got all sorts of chemicals I can barely
drink tons of coffee.
Yeah, but coffee's natural. I don't put anything in the coffee. I don't put sugar in my coffee. I don't put cream in my coffee. I drink when I drink coffee, I want to taste it. When Bonnie makes coffee, it tastes like shit. That's a Pulp Fiction quote. But what I don't.
Coffee is good for you.
I know it's an antioxidant.
Good for you. It's good for your teeth. It doesn't stain your teeth.
It does. But that's
okay.
But first of all,
right,
what is that? That's a whataboutism. You really going to come at me with that? How do you not know when you're born? And why is your mom is blaming it on a shift change?
Yes, I'm telling you, the nurses wrote it in the chart, in my record for the 25th, and then they left from their duty. She was still in labor. She had me after midnight on the 26th of 1970. It was Thanksgiving Day.
This is something you say when your food comes out cold at a restaurant. Well, I think there was a shift change. It might have been sitting there. They were waiting. You know what I mean? They were waiting for the other server. Have you met Colleen?
Okay, so
because I think have you met Colleen? She was left in an Olive Garden, and no one knows when you were born. I think you might have been. The Olive Garden might be located near the hospital. Might have the same.
I'm friends with Colleen.
Yeah, it might be a family business running both enterprises. What?
So I actually have podcast kind of things to talk about.
No, I'm sorry, Kina. We're plumb out of time. Y'all come back now, you hear?
Oh, really? Plumb. You're plumb out of time.
Kina, what is your biggest pet peeve? What did I just do? What is your biggest pet peeve?
Oh, my gosh. You're trying to act like a Southerner.
Right? And that's why the Country Bear theme drives you up a wall.
Oh, can we just talk about Shakira? Okay, Shakira is not a Southerner. So anything
South America
it's just wrong. It's just wrong. Country Bears is just wrong. Now, there's a couple things I like about it.
Leaving?
There's a couple things I like. I mean, I'll clap in the chat. If I like it, I'll clap. And I might be hooting and hollering where I'm sitting.
Let's be honest. You're hooting and hollering anywhere you're going.
I cannot. Yeah. Well, I cannot with country Shakira. No, I just can't.
So what were your thoughts on the original Country Bear Jamboree? Did you feel like that was genuine?
Oh, my gosh. Yes. Yes. I mean, Little Buford, that was me as a kid.
You read my mind.
I was all the time getting slapped around. I mean, I wasn't getting shot, but.
Well, is that because you were ducking and dodging, or?
Probably.
Right. It's not that you weren't being shot at. It's that the bullets never hit you. Is that what you're trying to tell us?
Yes.
All right. How did I know you were going to bring up?
Oh my gosh.
How did I know you were going to bring up Little Buford? How did I know? Because I know you, and I know that's who you relate to. That, and you relate to friggin' Big Al, blood on the saddle. Nobody knows what it means. Kina, one day I spent 45 minutes Googling that, and nobody knows what it means.
Well, I mean, most likely somebody got shot on a horse.
Right. Yeah. No, it's a very literal translation, right? Somebody got shot on a horse. But
listen.
Yeah, what do you really
Country
want?
Bears was so classic. It was so classic. It was I went to Disney with my family when I was 4 years old, and I freaking remember stuff from that.
Sure.
And Country Bears was one of those things.
I'm with you. The talking taxidermy was what did me in as a kid. Like those guys, that was the show to me.
Yeah, I think I probably thought they were real.
You probably still do. I mean, of course they're real. What are you talking about, Kina?
Oh, gosh. Oh, family friendly. This is not No Filter Friday.
No. The thing with radio is it's inevitably going to be provocative. But I gotta tell a quick anecdote while I have you on the phone. I gotta put you on blast.
Okay.
All right, we're in line for Splash Mountain the last day, and I'm like, Kina, I need a souvenir. Like, I need something, and it can't be Brer Rabbit because it doesn't fit in the backpack. Otherwise, maybe we would have tried. And outside the queue, there are these ropes that are, like, screwed down. And I don't even think the rope is connected to anything. It's just like a loop of, like, big, thick rope, and it's, like, screwed down to a post. And, like, I'm like, oh, that rope, like a rope from Splash Mountain. That's themed. You know what I mean? It's perfect. Kina stood there all day long whittling that rope off that screw. Nobody could see her doing it, but
I
me.
had every part of my body pulling on that rope.
You
and
were
I
so close. You were so close. So close. So close.
I wanted that rope.
I wanted the rope. You weren't going to keep it. You were going to do all that and then not give it to me? Wow. I have the light bulb, though. You saw me take the light bulb.
Do you want to talk about what you stole?
I've talked about it 100 times. I'm walking off the ride. Kina failed at getting the rope, so now I figure I got to pick up her slack. Okay? And right as you get off the ride and you turn the corner, and it's gone now anyway, so it's not gone because I stole it. But basically, there was a light fixture on the wall. I don't know why they had to get rid of the light fixture. How does that not fit the theme of Tiana's Bayou Adventure? Okay. So I'm like, I need something. What's the quickest thing I can take that's not tied down, that technically wouldn't really be stealing, whatever. So I took an expendable. I reached up, I unthreaded the light bulb as I got off the ride and turned the corner. You've never seen somebody unthread a light bulb so fast. I turn around, and Kina's jaw is on the floor, and I just walked away. Yeah. And let me tell you something. The Splash Mountain light bulb sits next to the light bulb I took from Breaking Bad, from the Breaking Bad RV on the Sony lot when I walked in and did the same thing. So I have a problem. I have a celebrity light bulb collection, and I can't control myself. And anywhere I go where I think there's something of historical value, I take a light bulb, apparently. It's a true story. It's a true story.
And the bad thing was,
you
told me ahead of time. You told me.
Yeah.
You told me on one of our rides, because we rode it several times that day, I'm going to take that light bulb. I'm like, no, you're not. There's a camera right there on that light bulb.
I could care less.
I'm going to take that light bulb.
I could care less. What are they going to do? Are they going to retroactively put me in Disney jail? Let's go.
I know. Yeah.
At least if they do that, I'll tell them how much they're effing up the company.
I have official podcast things to talk about.
Oh, hurry up, please.
I want to circle back to the Halloween party just for a second.
Okay.
Just for a second. I was so disappointed. Now, I don't complain about Disney. I don't gripe. I don't ask to see the manager, even though I almost did for our Mamma Mia's mozzarella cheese sticks that were not mozzarella cheese sticks, but that's for another day.
What were they?
They were mozzarella cheese pellets.
Pellets?
I don't know.
Ew.
I don't know.
I thought maybe you were going to say they were nacho cheese sticks. Did you say? All right, sorry. Go.
You made me snort.
Shiny object syndrome in full effect. Go.
Back to the Halloween party.
Hurry up.
Okay, so it was disappointing. So I totally believe that they let more people in. So when we went to the Halloween party, we were sandwiched in between two hurricanes. So the first week there was a hurricane, then we went to the party, and then there was another hurricane. So I totally believe that week that everybody canceled for the hurricane. They let them come on the night that I went to the party. The crowds were horrible. It was horrible. It was not worth my money. And I've done the Halloween party before, and it was great. There were no lines. It was an after hours. It was worth it for after hours and the extra that we paid for the ticket. But this time I was just disappointed.
Well,
so that's all. I just want to get that out.
What is your logic for going to the Halloween party? In other words, is it the theming? Is it Halloween? Is it being in an after hours event? Is it the parades? Like what do you do the Halloween party to experience?
Well, my thing for the Halloween party is the parade and all the villains. But I feel like now that there's going to be a villain's land, I'm not going to need the Halloween party. I'm good.
You think that?
I can see the villains. Yeah, I can see the villains anytime I want to. I don't have to go to the Halloween party.
Oh, you're adorable. You're cute. You think there's going to be villains in Villains Land? You don't realize that's the first thing they're going to cut? Do you remember when they said Galaxy's Edge was going to have bounty hunters walking around? There's not going to be villains walking around in Villains Land. There'll be a meet and greet here or there. The rest of the villains will be in the DVC lounge.
Well, I'm hoping.
All
because
right.
the Halloween party disappointed me. So I'm looking forward to Villains Land, and I'm going to believe that until I see it.
Yeah, I'm scared about that. Look, I love Cars Land in DCA, but let's be really, really honest about what Cars Land is. It's one really spectacular e-ticket attraction that catches your eye, and it's 1.5 stock rides, okay, and a couple shops and quick service. Like, there's nothing. Cars Land is in many ways less than what Galaxy's Edge is. And even though it looks spectacular from the back, there's really nothing in the front. And, so even if they give us, at best, the Galaxy's Edge level of immersion, which I suspect we're not going to get, okay? And, it doesn't even matter to me. If we get best case scenario or worst case scenario, either which way, I just feel like it's not going to be enough for what Villains should or could be, or what we've expected it to be. Because at one point, the expectation was a Villains park. And there's really too much that you can do with Villains to relegate it to a land that's going to be one ride, some shops, and dining. So even at its best, if it's Galaxy's Edge, it's going to be underserved. And at its worst, if it's Cars Land, it's going to be the bare minimum. And I love that ride in DCA, but Cars Land is a bare minimum land. It is mostly concrete. Thank you.
Well, and I think we've seen what happened with Splash Mountain to Tiana. It could have been, I guess, so much more. So I hope it's going to be worth its time.
What else is on your mind?
The other thing I want to talk about is Wicked. I'm looking at you on my laptop, and you're saying things on there, but I'm not hearing you. I want to talk about Wicked.
So talk about it. I paused. It was a pregnant pause, so you could keep talking.
Oh, okay. So, oh my gosh, I have seen Wicked on Broadway. I have seen, stop, what the heck? I have seen Wicked on Broadway. I've seen Wicked in my hometown, like my theater, in the big city close to me in Charlotte.
Theater.
And it was great too. And theater. And I've read the book.
Wow.
So the book is not totally different, but it's different. It's really spicy too. Yeah. So the movie is brilliant. And this is not coming from a movie person. I haven't produced movies myself like somebody else that brags about it all the time.
First of all, you know what? I'm going to hang up on you if you don't watch yourself.
Yeah, I know you will. It's all right.
Then I'll blame it on a raindrop.
But this movie, oh my gosh, it's so good. You can totally see anytime you have something live on a stage, you're going to miss something. Yeah. You're going to miss some foreshadowing, or you're going to miss something. Well, in the movie, everything is just so clear. Everything is right there, and it's an easy watch. And oh my gosh, I think it was 2.5 hours goes by so fast. And it's just the first, like if you're sitting in the theater and you're watching this, the movie is up to intermission.
Right.
So the next part 2 is going to be, what? I'm not going to watch your face anymore while I'm talking.
Yes, stop
I don't know what you're laughing at.
Because there's comments, and I'm reading comments. Ellis is hyper-fixated on the dino nugget, but we're not there yet.
Oh, I can't see the chat. So anyway, hey, everybody.
Keena, please focus.
You have to go see Wicked. I'm back. You have to go see Wicked. It's so good. Everybody needs to go see it. It is a musical, though. I know everybody's not into musicals, but it is so good.
Do you know that
I cannot wait for part 2.
Do you know that you just gave the same exact review for Wicked that Ellis gave for Godzilla -1? It's so good. like I almost think you plagiarized.
I plagiarized from Ellis?
I don't mean to throw you under the bus live, but to me it sounds like you lifted that straight out from his review.
Uh-oh, I'm in trouble.
Yeah, you'll be hearing from somebody.
Yeah.
What, Keena, what else do you need to talk
about? All right,
about?
well, I just wanted to call in and bug you.
All right, well, listen. I love joking around with you, but let's get serious for a minute. The work you've done, on the weekends, on choosing to do this on your own time, reaching out to folks in North Carolina, both in your immediate area, and then I know you've traveled out. Not only is it commendable, I applaud you for it, but I'm also just like incredibly fascinated by it because, like, I'm sorry, I'm just trying not to make jokes because with you and like if we're talking personally, even about serious stuff, we'll still crack jokes. So I'm trying to do this without cracking jokes, but it bothers me on a level that you have to go do it. And I don't mean that at your expense, because I applaud you for what you're doing, and I want to talk to you about it for a minute, and I want to encourage people to contribute. We're not going to push it right now, but we're going to have to again because these folks are – I mean, you're telling me stories about folks that, like, are intense living on their property, and I said to you, well, why not go to a hotel? You said because they'll lose their land. So I commend you, but it bothers me greatly that North Carolina needs to rely on Keena, as if Keena isn't doing enough. Not that – listen, I mean, look, it's a small contribution. There are people out there giving thousands of meals out to families. It's a fantastic effort. But why are the people being left to themselves to figure this out? That's the question.
Right, and it's the people. It's the people trying to figure it out, and it's the people trying to help them as much as they can. That's who it is. It's people from different states. There's people from all over the United States. Campers are coming in now, which is great, but they have to follow building codes. So these tiny houses that are being built, they have to follow building codes. So if they don't have electricity, they're not up to code. So it's nice that people are coming in, but there seems to be so much red tape that everybody has to get around to be able to do anything. Like, I just feel like actual supplies and food is the only thing that nobody's going to complain about. There's no codes. There's no codes if you take them a hot bowl of chili. There's no codes if you take them a pair of socks and a toboggan.
But to what you're saying is people are living in tents because the process for recovery is so slow.
Yes.
Is that an anomaly? Is that like a few people are stuck living in tents on their property, or is that everywhere?
Not everybody is in a tent. Some people are living in their houses covered in tarps because they were not totally destroyed, but they're living in rooms of their house that were not destroyed, but may be covered with a tarp, and they're fighting mold and mildew. But they're living in their house. So not everybody's in a tent.
But yeah, I mean, can you imagine living with a tarp? It's just, in this country, I'm sorry. And I understand that we have poverty and that is a problem. But this is crisis. And I don't understand, and I should stop saying I don't understand, because I do understand why. But I don't like how quickly we abandon and how quickly we forget those in need in this country. And I told you the other day I saw that story, and it's like, oh, it's Thanksgiving, so naturally there's a story about 5,500 meals being distributed around North Carolina. But I'm cynical, and I would say you're only seeing a story like that because it's the holidays. So in the new year, when the marketing of the holiday spirit, and I'm not trying to be a Grinch, but when the marketing of the holiday spirit is behind us, and I love the holiday spirit, okay, but I'm just being real for a minute. We can't forget. So we're going to do what we did before when everybody's not talking about it, so that we can jump in and even contribute just a little something. Because it's the holidays. There's people doing things. And I would suggest that come mid-January, there will be little to no conversation about those still recovering. And in January, there will still be somebody out there living in a tent or living in their house with a tarp for a roof who hasn't gotten what they need. And I wish we could do more for these folks, but at least let's do something. I don't like the idea of knowing you and knowing that you're able to help and not trying to jump in and contribute. Like, that's what we're supposed to be doing as human beings, but instead all we do is fear each other's differences and point fingers and yell and scream and tear each other apart. So I look at this and I go, let's just wait. And give me the email address in a minute, Keena, please. But let's just wait till after the holidays, and then let's pound the pavement. Now, are you like, you've met so many different people. Are you meeting anybody that have you seen anybody like multiple times? Is there anybody who you're able to like track progress off?
No. See, I see different people every time I go.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. That just means that there's so many people in need that you're not, like, because in my mind, I'm like, oh, okay, maybe it's a select few, right? So if you keep going to the same place, maybe you'll see familiar faces. This person's coming back. They need more diapers, whatever it is. They need a backpack. And it's just, that's even more bizarre to me. Not bizarre. That's just upsetting. Yeah. It's upsetting.
Well, there's a lot of things going on this week for Thanksgiving. There's a lot of agencies and churches showing up with hot Thanksgiving meals. Yeah. And then there are Amazon wish lists for adopt a child and adopt a family for Christmas. So those things, I think, are a little bit more personal. I would probably be able to get to know those people on a little bit deeper level. But I think I'm going to go back. I think I'm going to go back before Christmas. I have a few things that I've gotten donated. We've gotten a couple other things in the email. And I just feel like there's still things they need that are not Thanksgiving and Christmas related that people are just kind of forgetting about.
Well, first of all, thank you to everybody.
So I'm going to go back.
Let me just say this. Thank you to everybody who has contributed. We're still getting contributions, and there's just a lot of generosity out there. What is the email address?
It is helpncplease@gmail.com.
Helpncplease@gmail.com. That's a very, very straightforward message. Helpncplease@gmail.com. And you're looking for gift cards primarily, ideally, because it's just easier for you to go buy whatever you...
E-gift cards. I can do Walmart. I can do Target. I can do Amazon. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Even Lowe's Home Improvement. Lowe's Home Improvement. So now that they're trying to start to rebuild, they're asking for some basic construction things like hammers and nails. So
wait, whoa.
Yeah.
Who? Okay. What? Who? Someone's just asking for hammers and nails. Who's doing the construction if they don't have hammers and nails already?
Right.
No, I'm not joking. Who's doing the construction if you got to hand somebody hammers and nails? Who the hell's doing the construction? We're just getting some guy. Is it a day laborer? You would think whoever's doing the construction would have this stuff.
Well,
I know this sounds funny, but I'm not joking.
Yeah. I don't know how many official construction companies are doing the rebuilds of people's damaged houses. There are volunteers coming in.
So you're telling me this sounds like a really bad skit. This is a bad bit. You're telling me that you need to go out for people and buy hammers and nails so they can have volunteers repair their house?
Yes.
I thought you hung up. That's incredibly, that's nuts.
Yeah, it is, but that's what's happening. That's what people are just trying to repair what they can, and they're just asking for help.
Where are these construction companies? Where are the Toll Brothers? You know who Toll Brothers is? Toll Brothers is still around, right? These giant construction companies that make all these cookie cutter houses. Where are these companies? Come in and fix this stuff.
Yeah.
Just come in and do it.
Yeah, I don't.
No,
I don't hear about those.
Still
I don't
around?
see those.
Is Toll Brothers still around?
I don't know.
First of all, every time I hear that name, I think of chocolate chip cookies. Toll Brothers. And in the tri-state area, I know it's Toll House, it's not Toll Brothers, but as a kid, my dad would say, because he was in real estate, he'd be, Toll Brothers, oh, another Toll Brothers, oh, more Toll Brothers. I'd be like, what's your problem with chocolate chip cookies? Then I realized he wasn't talking about cookies. So, but I just, to me, if you're a giant company like that, you're not doing it for the optics. You're not doing it, for the pat on the back. But what do you have to lose? You have nothing but upside. Some companies should come in there and help everybody out if the government can't do it, and it'll be a huge win for them. So wait, you seriously, if somebody sends a Lowe's gift card, are going to go get hammers and nails and go drop them off to somebody?
Yeah.
But how do you even know what nails to get? Do you have a list?
I don't. No, but I can get it.
Well,
I do have one contact person.
So they're relying on
the
you to pick the
nail.
Wait a second. With. You're telling me that now we're waiting. People are relying on you to pick the nails out? That's not good, Keena. You should not just.
No, that's not.
No, I'm not. Now it's just turning into comedy. But no, for real. We're trying to help these people. You should not be picking out. Why are you picking out nails without somebody else? Without a professional consultation? What are you going to?
No, there's no professional consultation.
Keena's going to show up.
Keena's going to show up. Everybody what they need.
You're going to show up with tack nails. You're going to be, I got your tack nails. No, they're not hanging pictures, Keena. They need nail guns and air compressors. Where did you get this idea that you're bringing people nails and hammers? Now I'm worried. Let's stick to the blankets and the tents.
That was just to prove a point.
I know it was to prove a point,
That
but
was
I'm
to
using
prove
it to
a
prove
point.
a point. Like that's bad. Like that's
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
Where are the companies to step up? Also,
Yeah.
honestly,
I know.
Keena,
So there's a
Lowe's,
piece you probably, yeah.
second half of Lowe's aisle 15 is where you're going to find the air compressors. Okay, so if you're looking for an air compressor to get a nail
Okay,
gun,
thanks.
second half of aisle. I
Okay.
don't know if it's aisle 15. I made that up.
Okay. Well, what aisle would I find what is a piece of something that goes on a generator to connect it to, it's something that doesn't come with a generator or a propane heater, but it's like they're asking for this piece that is able to connect it. And I don't know what that is. I need to find out what that is.
I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm on break.
Some type of piece that connects.
What are you asking me?
Mm-hmm.
What this turn into tech talk? What do you need?
I mean, you probably worked at Lowe's. You probably worked at Lowe's at some point in your life, so you should know these things. You're already telling me what aisle things are on.
I'm not knocking Lowe's people at all, but how dare you? I am not qualified to. I am not qualified to do front-facing consumer interactions. Okay. What do you need? You need an adapter to go from electric to air? I don't think they make that.
I'm not sure. It's some kind of piece that attaches to a propane heater or a generator that allows it to be connected to something else, and that's what they're getting. Okay,
so get a part number. Okay, get some real data. What you're telling me is you need a doohickey to connect the one thing to the other, and nobody knows how to source that.
Right.
Right. That's like talking to Ellis.
Doohickey. Yes. A thingamabob. We need a thingamabob.
Listen. All joking aside, helpncplease at gmail.com. I know you've brought kids backpacks, it's diapers, backpacks. I think you were even talking about like skincare products at one point. So whatever, and there are lists. There are lists of the things that people need, and there's organizations that you have been working with. And your friend Crystal has been helping you. Thank you to Crystal. So look, it's the holidays, and there's a lot of support right now, and we're really going to push this in the new year. But what I would ask is if you have a little extra, I'm going to be like it's like what is it, like the Jerry Lewis telethon? Walk on. Anyway, I'm stealing somebody else's bit now. But if you have just a little something extra. And at least with Keena, aside from the construction projects, that it's going to go to the right people, and it's going to help somebody. It's not just a donation to an organization. Keena is actually interacting with these folks. They're pulling up in cars. Families sandwiched in the cars. Parents all crammed in together because not everybody had transportation, and oftentimes they don't even know what they need. They're so lost they don't even know what they need. And it really does. It saddens me that in this country, and it's not just North Carolina, and I'm not going to sit here and act like that's the only issue, but it really bums me out that in this country we are so quick to turn our back on our own. One of the things that I found to be really, really disgusting was down here in Tampa. I think it was Tampa. I don't think it was North Carolina. I think it was Tampa. Some FEMA people got in trouble for not helping some Trump supporters or something.
Yes.
And I mean, first of all, that's just disgusting. Number one. Number two, it just shows you how toxic the state of our discourse is. That people think that way, and that we are so easy to vilify people for our differences, whether they're political, whether they're religious, whether they're spiritual, whatever they may be, economic. We are so quick to, and it's very fear-based, but we are so quick to reject and oppose anything that we aren't comfortable with. And in turn, that's what it produces, right? The vilification of the opposition. Opposition should be healthy, right? If you surround yourself with nothing but folks that tell you yes, then where do you find your way to breaking new ground? Where do you achieve anything? Where is progress derived? If everybody around Walt Disney told him yes, you wouldn't have Disneyland, you would have Mickey Mouse Park. Because before Walt Disney ever pitched Disneyland, he wanted to build Mickey Mouse Park in Burbank. And if those people would have told him yes, he would have built the little thing that is Mickey Mouse Park, and we would have never had Disneyland the way that we know it today. So adversity is necessary if you're trying to achieve progress in any area. Thank you. 253-263-1540. Thank you for agreeing. So 253-263-1540. What else is on your mind before I let you go, Keena?
That's it. I'm good.
Did you see Moana 2 yet, or did you see any reviews on it?
No,
Good. That's helpful. Thank you so much.
I mean, I can make up something.
No, I don't need you to do that. I'm going to move on because what I heard about Moana 2 was how, I've heard a lot of things, but the big takeaway that I'm reading is how the absence of Lin-Manuel Miranda is felt throughout the entire movie, and to the extent that they're even, quoting lyrics from songs that were in the first movie. They're trying to capture that thing, and I think Lin-Manuel Miranda is incredibly talented, but I think he's overrated.
He is.
I think Hamilton is overrated. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it. I think he's got far better work under his belt. In the Heights was the thing that he did before Hamilton. Hamilton is the dumbing down of history through hip hop to appeal to white kids, right? And it works.
Right.
But it's everything that's wrong with our culture. Yeah, there's some catchy songs, but it's overrated. I think he's very, very talented, though. Why wouldn't you hire him?
He is.
If you know that Moana 2 is a TV show now being converted into a feature film, and you've already saved a ton of money on animation, why would you not hire this guy? Is it because he said no?
Right.
Or you're just being so cheap that you can't afford him? Because you can afford him unless you don't want to afford him.
Right.
Like, the songs from Hamilton are catchy, but I just think overall it was just overhyped. Super talented guy, though. Well connected. His father was a political advisor in New York. He actually did the Hamilton performances, the songs, the mixtape at the White House before he ever had a show. I mean, he was connected from day one. So even though he started off as a teacher and he worked his way up and he did his thing, he certainly had the right relationships. And that's the way the world works, Keena. It's all about relationships.
That's right.
I have to move on. The calls are lighting up, Keena. It was good to talk to you. Goodbye.
Oh, okay. Bye.
All right. I love you, Keena. Happy birthday. Thank you for all you do. She already hung up on me. Unbelievable. We're going to move along here. $469. You're on the air. Who's this?
Hey, can you? Hi, Royce. This is Jay.
How are you?
Very good. I had an idea I wanted to throw at you, and let me know if this is dumb or smart, or you tell me. It seems as though Disney may be trying to throw the Muppets into some sort of money-making model similar to Marvel, meaning how can we maximize the money out of this product? The kind of money that they throw behind Marvel and the Marvel storyline. I would propose that they use the Searchlight studio and sort of feed through some really good story ideas. There's a lot of people that have really good ideas for the Muppets and storylines, being able to create new, a whole new generation of fans based on, you don't have to put a lot of money behind it. You just have to come up with a good story. And if they it doesn't have to be the pomp and circumstance of Marvel. It could be Searchlight. They have a Searchlight studio. Most of their independent films come out of Searchlight. They could use, a lower budget, to release some quality content, and the Muppets could be the focus. It would be my proposal that they kind of start getting the set audience of a younger generation back on the Muppets. That way, there's more, depending on reaction, if this is a success, and you have all kinds of things that can branch off of it as far as the streaming service, storylines. The storylines, it could be kind of like, what HBO Max did with the Batman. You had the Penguin now has his own series, so maybe you have, Grover gets Grover, Animal or someone like that gets their own series on Disney Plus. You've got all these opportunities.
But you're skipping one very important step, and that's the creative step, and that's the writers. Because Searchlight is nothing. Searchlight is a floor in an office building filled with executives. It's not a room of creatives developing a slate. At best they acquire, or I should say, at worst they acquire, at best they develop. And if they're developing, they're still relying on bringing in outside talent to pitch ideas. The way the TV development process works, and the way a company like Searchlight would even operate, because at this point, you would, it's the same thing. It's development. You'd have to bring in outside talent. There's nobody sitting in a Fox Searchlight office with a creative vision that defines the Fox Searchlight brand. Go look back at Fox Searchlight's history of movies and go look at how many of those were acquired at film festivals. I think one of the earliest Fox Searchlight movies was Full Monty, I believe. You could fact check me if I'm wrong. Okay? And they acquired it at like a film festival. So I understand what you're trying to say, but it still goes back to the desire to do so. And I just fear that without the right leadership, you don't get there. So irrespective of what production shingle you choose to use, because they don't really need to push it through a production shingle to do what you're talking about, which is really just good, considerate storytelling, and to develop the Muppet universe, I would argue that the way to do that is to bring in Frank Oz. The man that worked with Jim Henson is alive. He is one of the greatest feature film directors of all time. Hire Frank Oz. That is how I would approach what you're pitching, because I think you're on to something in terms of developing out the universe of the Muppets. But Frank Oz, the very, very man that was there, I mean, we went through it on the time. We went through the timeline Monday. It was when Frank Oz entered the picture and Jane Henson decided to leave the business and raise her children, that the Muppets took on a completely different, I wouldn't say persona, but I would say a tonal shift. I think that Frank Oz was the yang to Jim's yin, or the yin to his yang, or the whatever to the whatever, right? And without a Frank Oz, Jim Henson would have never realized the Muppets to the level that they did together. They were partners. Jane was instrumental, but they were partners. And that man's alive today. So if you really cared about the Muppets, the easiest solution is to pick up the phone and call Frank Oz.
I think that the reason why Disney hasn't done this to this point is because of the safety of the Marvel franchise, or not putting the resources towards, because they don't really have to do anything internal. Searchlight doesn't have to come up with anything on their own. I'm talking about these creatives that, 15 years ago, I think Jason Segel tried to release a Muppet movie. I don't know how well it did or how it was received. I barely remember it myself, but maybe that tells you something. But there are a lot of creative people out there that they can lean on for storytelling. I'm just thinking from the standpoint, the only reason I bring up Searchlight is because you don't have to release it on such a larger scale. You could still have the success.
Yeah, but then it's not.
Still get the audience.
That's like a 90s mentality, right? And I appreciate it. but they're looking at it from if we can't release it on Disney Plus, then what are we doing? In other words, if we can't leverage it across all of our platforms, if we can't, they love corporate synergy, right? So if we can't synergize this across all of our verticals, then why are we doing it? And I think Kenzie tapped into a really good point on the podcast that we do every weekend together. They paid like $75 million for them, and because you keep bringing up Marvel, so you're reminding me of this. And then a few years later, it's $4 billion for Marvel, and a few years after that, $4 billion for Star Wars. So if you're looking at it from the financial perspective, you have no motivation to recover any cost on the Muppets because it's probably long been paid for. And with Marvel, you're still milking it because you paid $4 billion for it, and the numbers show you that there's still money to print. If Marvel imploded, maybe they'd look to the left and go, oh, look, the Muppets. But there's no reason to. And to do what you're talking about is experimentation, right? What you're doing is daring to be different. It used to be the norm. It would take a Michael Eisner type to come in and go, you know what? I don't care. I'm doing it anyway because I believe in it. And they used to say he was a lunatic for some of his instinctual decision making. But that's what you get, right? There's two sides to that coin. So, a Bob Iger doesn't have the you-know-what to do what you're talking about. Well, the data shows that kids really aren't into the Muppets. Kids like monsters. For the last 20 years, the data has pointed, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, and that's all it takes. And then if it flops, you go, well, look, you wouldn't have done it any different. I just followed the numbers. You're talking about taking a risk.
And you're taking a chance at building a younger audience out of it. You and I have the appreciation and the history with the Muppets to know how creative it was, how great of an idea it was, and what it can be. And they're taking away a little bit of that. Okay, they're taking away the remaining part of that magic by shutting down Muppet Vision. But I think that there's an opportunity here. It's okay to be big, and it's so big and successful, and small and successful. I think Disney can be both if they decide it's something that they want to do.
Well, that's the key factor. It's a decision.
Give these creative minds a platform and allow people who are, I always do this, surround yourself by people that are smarter than you. Give these people that are more creative than them an opportunity, anything that they can come up with to say, hey, that's a pretty good story. I like where this is going. We can build off of this. And it's okay because it's not Marvel. It's never going to be Marvel, but at least it can be its own, tentacle of the Disney, product that people then develop a new appreciation. The kids are now starting to get, it's starting to become a demand with them because now you've done it the right way. You've reintroduced it to the market in the right way, without having to say it's going to have to be $1 billion money-making movie or we're not going to do it. That's just, to me, it's never going to happen. Disney's never going to go for it. This is the only way to reintroduce and grow in a way that I think would be respectful to the rest of us.
And I don't disagree with a word you're saying, but to Disney, they're going to be like, well, what problem are we solving? The reason the Muppets are going on Rock and Roller Coaster is it's a salvage, right? It was a Band-Aid solution to not completely obliterating the Muppets, okay, because they knew they were going to get backlash. So that's satiation at best, and it's not going to be Jim Henson's Muppets. It's going to be Disney's Muppets, which are going to be a very, very thin representation of Henson's characters. So they don't have a problem to solve, so I don't see them doing it. Again, it would take somebody that actually cared enough about the brand. But I don't disagree with you. And look, there's a gap that they have to recover from as well, because a whole bunch of kids weren't raised on the Muppets. The reason Monsters, Inc. works is because it's been there since it was there, right? Like, it never left the scene. The Muppets left the scene for a while, and they haven't figured out what to do with it. I know what to do with the Muppets. I've said this 100 times. I know what to do with the Muppets. I will not say it out loud. I will not give it away to Disney for free. All I'm demanding is one snack coupon, good for either a Mickey pretzel or a churro, so I'm not like trying to shake them down, okay? But I know exactly what to do to turn the Muppets into $1 billion enterprise, and it wouldn't be expensive. And it wouldn't be quite the way you're talking about doing it, but it would be in the true spirit of what the Muppets have been and what they should be, not the scatological frat humor that they've been doing as of late with the Muppets, which I find repulsive. Fozzie Bear farting is not Muppet humor.
Yeah, I think that the more I think about this, the more there's so many great characters of the Muppets that they can certainly pull off, individual storylines with. I don't know, maybe my brain is just going into crazy mode, but
Look,
I very much.
You're on to something, but you and I are agreeing here. I think the details might be different in approach, but we agree on the core principle, which is it has to be a desire, and it's not going to be because it's a money printing machine. It's going to be because there's a desire to get it there. But if you're corporate and you're lazy like they are, wouldn't it be easier to put that spend towards the Muppets than to develop original storytelling? And now I'm kind of talking out of the other side of my mouth. But if you're playing devil's advocate, as much as I advocate for developing original storytelling, you're sitting on the Muppets. Why wouldn't you at least devote some resources to monetizing them? Like, I know it's not going to be pure creative.
You're throwing money away in other areas of the business. You might as well take a chance.
It just takes one person.
It's only a good thing.
So the way TV development works in Hollywood, there's two parts to TV development. I've worked in a TV development office, and I've seen this firsthand. Hey, we're looking for, okay? So now the studio goes, hey, we're looking for, and then they solicit through agents and managers for pitches or spec scripts that may feed what they're shopping for. So then it goes the other way. Oh, this writer has this idea. Well, who's buying that right now? Oh, well, France is buying a lot of that. So go pitch that to this studio that develops shows for France. Great. That's typically how like TV development works, right? So now let's say somebody comes in and Disney is looking for somebody to develop the next Atlantis series. So they're taking pitches on Atlantis. So people are coming in with adventure spec scripts, and a guy comes in and he goes, oh, here's my Indiana Jones spec script. And they're like, that's really good. We'd like to bring you on this Atlantis project. What else you got? And he goes, well, listen, I also have this idea for the Muppets. And then they go, oh? And he goes, yeah, check it out. And then they go, oh my gosh, we love that. You know what? Maybe we should do that instead of Atlantis. And that's TV development in a nutshell. So it's going to take somebody to spark somebody before that ever happens. It's not going to be top-down decision-making.
Well, if you can somehow get this message to Christopher Nolan, that would be a wonderful.
No. Christopher Nolan with the Muppets is such a bad. What are you talking? What do you want? Kermit the Frog. Look at the amphibious texture on his skin. It's so photorealistic. Oh my gosh, warts and all. What are you talking about? Christopher Nolan. I mean, he did Batman great, but no way.
I want Fozzie dressed as Julius from Pulp Fiction. That would be ideal.
They got the hair. The hair is they got the curls. The curls are Now, I will say, and you bring up Christopher Nolan, just to deviate off of Disney and go DC for a moment. Bane was so misrepresented in Dark Knight Rises. Bane is such a better villain in the comic books. So that's all. Just a statement. I don't know if you know about Bane. I don't know if you can speak to that. But I love the first two movies. But Dark Knight Rises, Bane was reduced to fluff. Bane is so much cooler in the comics. The vengeance of Bane, the origin story of Bane. I don't know if you know anything about Bane, but Bane was born in a prison. And then Bane was experimented on, and they gave him tubes. And the tubes were feeding venom into him. Right? So what they did in the movie, they changed the whole backstory. right? Vane is supposed to be this cranked up, like venomous villain, and they reduced him to like, oh, I Gotham will weep. But anyway, thank you.
No, I'm speaking of Christopher Nolan. I mean, you brought up the idea earlier, bringing up an alternative idea that ends up being a better idea. I think that's how he got Inception made. He wouldn't do Dark Knight Rises until they let him do Inception. So, worked in a similar way.
That's his oldest time.
Movies, but
yeah, that's Dick Tracy did. Warren Beatty made Dick Tracy so he could make Bulworth. So that one for you, one for me thing is as old as time. But yeah, I mean, that's the way it works.
Yeah. I appreciate it. It's a shame that, you buy something and then you park it. I think we've probably seen that. We've all been frustrated with that in the past 20 years or so. But I appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Good to talk to you.
Let me get that out there. Hopefully something happens.
Listen, I appreciate these conversations. Thank you for calling in. There's a delay. It's always hard to juggle. So I try to kind of give you the floor and let you do your thing, but also engage in a conversation with you. And I do appreciate you calling in. And happy Thanksgiving.
You as well. Take care.
Take care, buddy. Love that. What a good caller. I didn't even catch his name. I apologize, sir. What a great caller. And the funny thing is, that could be a regular in the chat, that gentleman. And I won't know till I get into the park or go live doing something, and it'll be like, hey, it was good to talk to you earlier. And I'll be like, oh, my God, So I love this. But the Muppets for me, as much as Disney would like to utilize them for the kids, the Muppets for me should operate in a layered manner, right? The Muppets should be much like the Frozen sing-along, which proves it can be done. The Muppets should operate with a certain level of subversive humor. So you're talking to everybody, but the kids are hearing it different than the adults. The Frozen sing-along, which I never used to do in the early days, the Frozen sing-along nails that formula. So they're capable of doing it. It's a choice. It's a choice. It's a choice. Let's pay some bills. All right. Quick word from our sponsors. Thank you to all of our sponsors. Are you ready to spice up your kitchen this holiday season? Pampered Chef has all the goodies, from spatulas and mandolins to amazing pots and pans and knives. Plus, don't miss out on small appliances like the deluxe air fryer and coffee maker to make your holiday cooking a breeze. Reach out to Colleen Herman, pamperedchef.com/PWS/Colleen Herman. pamperedchef.com/PWS/Colleen Herman. On vacation and the unthinkable happens. Have you been injured in an accident? Don't wait. Get the help you deserve today when you need it the most. At the law offices of Nicole M. Kennedy, they fight for your rights and work tirelessly to get you the compensation you deserve. They're here to guide you through every step. Call them now at 305-213-5438 for a free consultation. You don't pay unless they win. The Law Office of Nicole M. Kennedy, your trusted advocate in times of need. 305-213-5438. Last-minute shipping from the parks. Go visit my friends at the UPS store located right behind the Magic Kingdom at 6526 Old Brick Road. They'll help you out with that lightsaber that you bought at the last minute. Your wife told you cannot take it on the airplane. You're going to embarrass the entire family. What's wrong with you? We could have spent that money on your kid's future child. Oh, my God, I'm rambling. I shouldn't be doing this commercial. But you get the idea. If you bought something and you got to ship it out real quick, go to 6526 Old Brick Road, visit the UPS store, and they won't tell your wife that you bought it. Ask for William.bailey when you're looking for your travel solutions, and you can ask for William.bailey by reaching out to William.bailey at william.bailey@academytravel.com. He will help you with your destination planning. Disney cruises, or you're just looking to explore a new country, and so many people are these days. William will help you by reaching out to William.bailey@academytravel.com. He will provide you with a customizable, competitive experience. Those rates are competitive. He's not going to put you out there in the amazing race suddenly, I promise you. Sometimes I improvise on these to make them not as monotonous as the day before. And sometimes we're so worried about this life in this moment, we forget to plan for the life that those we left behind must manage. So with no estate plan, you could be leaving those you love the most behind with high taxes, probate fees, and an incomplete or divided estate, and legal fights and fees. A will or trust is not just for the Rockefellers anymore. If you live in Florida, contact RK Law today to make an appointment and safeguard the futures of those you love. Send an email to russell@rklawpro.com. Send an email to russell@rklawpro.com to schedule your appointment today. I think I started thinking of like Rock Nation when I said Rockefeller, and then that's where the musical part of that happened. But we're back. 253-263-1540. The fun of doing live reads and thinking you have the skills to improvise them. Now, I am going to visit TikTok headquarters in New York. I'm very excited about that, which means I'll be visiting my friends at the Delta Lounge. But I'm excited to go to New York, and it'll be fun. We'll do some stuff up there. I got to figure out other things to do. But there's 2 events in New York, so I'm excited for that. You know, I kind of keep toying with this idea of doing a marathon stream, and maybe I'll talk to them about it when I go up there because I'll be up there in a couple weeks. But I love the idea of doing a marathon live on TikTok. Maybe it's 24 hours. You know, last night I aired some parades overnight. One of them was punched in and over-zoomed. I apologize. But you could do, the way I've got things set up here, you could do a marathon stream, cut to a video, come back. You know, there's ways to do this. And I just think it'd be really, really cool to do something along those lines. I see it being done on other platforms. So maybe we'll talk to our friends over at TikTok about that. But I'm looking forward to that, and I think doing a 24-hour stream at a minimum could be a lot of fun. Ellis wants to talk about the Dino Nugget. Ellis, you got to call in if you want to talk about the Dino Nugget. Ashley said she was going to call in. If you don't know what we're talking about, I was streaming Fortnite, and Ellis noticed in the background a Dino Nugget pillow or plushie that the TikTok shop sent me as a sample. And he said, what do I have to do to get the Dino Nugget? So then immediately I said, all right, I'll tell you what, I'll give it to Ashley, and then you can negotiate with her because, you know, she has him wrapped around her finger, and then it will be entertaining to watch her, you know, torture him over the Dino Nugget. But she hasn't called in. So, Ellis, I don't know what to tell you, buddy. If you want to call in and beg and plead for the Dino Nugget, I'm not going to pick up. Also, 253-263-1540. Disney settled that lawsuit we were talking about last week, I think. So there was a pay disparity lawsuit that Disney was accused of paying women less than men. They settled the lawsuit for $43 million. $43 million. I wonder how much money they saved. $43 million sounds like a lot of money, but really in the grand scheme of things, for Disney, $43 million is a drop in the bucket. But $43 million they paid out in a pay disparity lawsuit. You got to believe that they saved money doing it that way, right? I'm cynical, but when you know the way the world works, you can't help but be cynical. I'm of the mindset that somebody did the math and said, you know what, even if we have to settle on this, it'll be cheaper than just paying these women their rate. So there's your inclusion, your fifth key, okay? There's Disney with your courtesy key. Sounds like a lot of money. It's not a lot of money. They probably saved 2 times that amount of money. And I can't help, I was just mentioning how, where's Frank Oz? Why isn't Disney reaching out to Frank Oz? I can't help but wonder, and I know the answer is probably no, but I can't help but wonder if behind the scenes, Michael Eisner is at least trying to get Bob Iger's ear. I know Bob Iger is not reaching out to Michael Eisner because his ego won't allow him to, but in my mind, in my fantasy, And I wish I could get a hold of Michael Eisner. I've tried. It's not for a lack of trying. I'd like to think Michael Eisner has picked up the phone and been like, Bob, what are you doing? I handed you a blueprint. Because, and it's funny how time works, because back in the day, Michael Eisner was considered the worst CEO for the Walt Disney Company. He was a villain. The norm was, oh, Michael Eisner, he put gift shops at the end of every ride. Oh, Michael Eisner, he was so bad. He wasn't bad at all. Michael Eisner was a fabulous CEO. Michael Eisner and Frank Wells together were the best thing that happened to the Walt Disney Company since Walt and Roy. It wasn't until Wells and Eisner arrived and unearthed Imagineering that they even started looking at future expansion. Going into that, you had Tokyo, okay? Just the first one, just the first park. Other than that, Disney was not an international company. They did not have an international theme park presence. It was Eisner and Wells. So it's funny how time heals things, because growing up, Eisner was the bad guy. And even 10 years ago, Iger was the good guy. I think history will show Michael Eisner was the greatest CEO the Walt Disney Company ever saw besides Walt. And Bob Iger turned out to be worse than Bob Chapek, because Bob Chapek wasn't there that long. And it turns out, if you read the articles, Bob Chapek wasn't really given that much autonomy. Bob Chapek was pretty much tethered to Bob Iger and the board. So because Bob Chapek was tethered to Bob Iger and the board. So because Bob Chapek couldn't really make decisions on his own, you really can't fault the guy. It turns out we were being conditioned to despise him by Bob Iger. 10 years ago, Bob Iger, best CEO at the Walt Disney Company, best CEO. No, the best CEO besides Walt Disney is Michael Eisner. And if you really want to help the company, you should put him on the board. I don't know why he's not on the board, actually. Probably because Bob doesn't want to feel like he's being shadow managed by a former CEO. But if the next CEO coming in was smart, he would say, hey, we should have Eisner on the board. I want to hear what Eisner has to say. And I want to hear what you have to say. How's that for a segue? 253-263-1540. 253-263-1540. I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow for Thanksgiving. My desire would be to curl up under a blanket with a cup of coffee and watch Star Wars. Maybe Star Wars and The Empire Strikes Back. Maybe even the entire trilogy. I can't tell you the last time that I watched Star Wars. And it's funny because if you want to talk about things not holding up, those prequels got beat to death when they came out. And now you look at those prequels and you weigh them against whatever Disney did, and you're like, wow, at least Lucas knew what he was doing with the prequels. I might not like Jar Jar Binks, but those prequels actually stood the test of time, it turns out. The prequels weren't as bad as we thought they were. But for me, tomorrow, I mean, I don't know what I'm actually doing, but for me, tomorrow, that would be like the best thing ever. Just to curl up on the couch and watch Star Wars. I also really want to go see Wicked, but just in terms of, the holidays and there's something about the holidays that makes me want to curl up on the couch under a blanket with coffee or cocoa, whatever it is, Now, I don't have a segue for this other than I had this realization when I went to Tokyo Disney last. The last time I went to Tokyo Disney, I actually left the bubble. So, unlike the first time where I predominantly relied on plastic, this time I was actually using the currency and engaging with yen more. And it comes to my realization, we do not need pennies. Like, why do we have pennies? What a waste are pennies. You don't need to go any smaller than that. They don't do it. They're perfectly fine with the yen. All you have to do is respect the fact that you price things right, and we don't need pennies. Why do we have pennies? Who wants to carry around 50 pennies in their pocket? The yen is perfect. When I was younger, I didn't get it. When I was younger, I'd be like, thousands of yen. Why has got to be so many yen? But when you're using yen, it's so easy. And the conversion rate's not even that hard to resolve. Okay? But you look at that and you go, why do we have pennies? Can we get rid of the penny? So I don't know, with this Doge government efficiency, I didn't even know I was going here with this. But if you really want efficiency, get rid of the penny. Can we just get rid of the penny? We don't need it. I'm not even so sure we need the nickel, okay? With the way prices are, is 4 or 5 cents really going to make a difference in the grand scheme of things? Do we really need to break it down? I think we can get rid of the penny and the nickel. If it's below a dime, we round. Down or up? All right, let's go to the phones. What?
Hello.
I said what?
I was calling in about the Dino Nugget.
Ellis, I was in the middle of a very intelligent rant about not needing the penny. And you're interrupting me to talk about a Dino Nugget? I don't think it's funny.
No, I'm not interrupting.
Whoa. Step away from the phone. Put a little space between you and the handset, okay? Are you there?
No, I wasn't. Okay.
What are you, eating the telephone? Ellis.
Yes.
Why is it taking so long for you to respond? Are you watching something?
No, I'm not watching anything.
Well, but why? It's like, I could drive an 18-wheeler between these back and forths. That's better.
I don't know what's
better.
going on.
Yeah, well, you just need to speak.
Okay, now it's better.
Not for me. Talk. What do you want to talk about? You called me.
Oh, yeah.
I was talking about the nickel. Ellis, I was going to get rid of the nickel. We had got this. I probably would. If you would have interrupted me, I would have been talking about getting rid of the dime. What? What can I do for you, sir?
I was going to call about the Dino Nugget.
Incidentally, that only costs 50 cents. What about the Dino Nugget? You want the Dino Nugget?
Yeah.
You said you'll do anything for the Dino Nugget.
I will, and if it includes Ashley, I'll do anything.
You really like this Ashley, don't you? Wow, are you blushing? I am. All right, here's what. Do you really want? If I give you a challenge, you can have because Ashley's not going to call in. All right, she's not going to call in.
Okay.
She'll talk. Listen.
Mm-hmm.
If you do this one thing for me, I'll give you the Dino Nugget.
Okay.
All right. You got a pen? I need you to write this down. You have a pen?
Wait, you will say Ashley's going to call in?
No, she's not going to call in. She's not going to call in. What? Oh, Ellis.
Oh.
The mic stand just fell. What happened? Ellis, I'm back. Listen.
Oh, no.
Huh?
I'm here.
Do you have a pen?
No.
I need you to write this down. If you complete this mission, the Dino Nugget is yours.
Okay.
All right. You got a pen? Are you even trying to get a pen, or are you just waiting for me to move on?
No, I have a pen.
I don't believe you. Let me hear the click of the pen. What kind of pen are you using? Is it a Bic?
No, it's like a medium-sized pen.
Medium size. All right, write this down. You ready?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
If I will give you the Dino Nugget, if you call Bob Iger
Okay.
and tell him not to get rid of Rivers of America.
All right.
But you have to talk to him directly.
Okay.
And don't call him Mr. Iger. Call him Bobby. So when you get him on the phone,
Okay, Bobby.
yeah, be like, Bobby. Remember at Jollywood when you yelled "Yo, Bob"?
Mhm.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
You screamed in the whole theater, "Yo, Bob." So in many ways, you've practiced this. You've been waiting your whole life for this moment. Call him. All right, I'll be the phone at Bob Iger's office. I'll be the receptionist.
Okay.
I'll be his assistant, and then don't be nervous. It's gonna be okay. And then you tell me how it's gonna go. You ready?
Uh-huh.
Bob Iger's office.
Can I speak to Bob Iger, please?
Yeah, sure. Hold on, please. Hi, this is Bob. Hi, it's me, Bob Iger. Hi.
Can you please save the Rivers of America?
No. I don't like water. Or Disney. Or Disney water.
Oh.
All right, hold on. I got to go to the phones. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Hold on.
Okay.
I'm nervous. Return to queue. You're on the air. Who's this? Hello?
Hello?
Oh, it's you again. Go back. I love the look. Hello? All right, you're on the air. Who's this?
So I heard you say I wasn't going to call in.
Yeah, but
so
I tricked you into calling in. Hi, Ashley. It worked.
Yeah, actually, I was planning on calling in anyway, but this morning I was taking calls. So I don't know what any of your topics are about because I just joined. So.
That's okay. But now I just told Ellis that if he called Bob Iger's office, he could have the Dino Nugget. But then I told you yesterday you could have the Dino Nugget if you called in. So now I'm torn. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, well, we know he's not going to call Bob Iger. He doesn't even have his phone number.
All right, hold on. I'll be right back. Hold on. Don't go anywhere. Hold on. Ellis.
Yeah.
I got Ashley on the other line, and she said that you're not going to call Bob Iger's office, so that I should just give her the Dino Nugget.
Okay, that's fair.
Oh, you admitted defeat that easily?
Well, I'm not gonna call someone who I don't know and that I don't know personally that I wouldn't want to talk to. No.
That's never stopped you before. That's never stopped you before. All right, hold on. All right, I got to go talk to Ashley. Can you hold on 1 second?
Yeah.
All right. Boy, he really likes you. Like, because he just basically gave in. He's like, she can just have it.
Yeah, but yet he won't ride Everest for me.
You just read my mind.
I ask.
Yeah, wow, it's amazing. We're so like-minded. Yeah, I feel the same way. He won't ride Everest. He won't call Bob Iger's office. I can't think of one good reason to merge these calls.
Nope.
No.
Because even if he promises to ride Everest, he still won't do it.
You hear that, Ellis?
Yeah, I hear that, Ethan.
Yeah, you're never. I'm gonna hold on. What do you want me to tell Ashley? She said you're never gonna ride Everest.
No, I am gonna ride it.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Hold on. Okay, Ellis.
Okay.
Ashley.
Yeah.
He said he is gonna ride it.
I don't believe it.
All right, hold on. Ellis.
Yeah.
She said that she doesn't believe you.
No, I've read on it before.
Okay, hold on. Ashley, He said he's ridden it before.
Yet he won't ride it when his two favorite people ask him to ride it, me and you.
Oh, all right. Hold on. Let me see what he says. Ellis.
Uh-huh.
Did you hear what she said? Did you hear what she said?
Uh-huh.
Do you want
that I won't ride it when my two favorite people ask me to.
Yeah, what do you want me to say to her?
I don't know.
All right. He's.
I wanted it.
Go
the
on.
next time I'm at Disney, Paul.
What about Disney?
I said I'll ride it the next time I'm at Disney.
All right, hold on. Ashley.
Yep.
He said he's going to ride it the next time he's at Disney.
Yeah, I don't buy that.
Yeah, okay, hold on. Ellis. Ellis, she says she doesn't believe you. Do you want Ellis? Do you want me to?
It'll happen.
Ellis, do you want me to merge these calls so you can talk to her directly?
You can keep. I like considering it just how it is. How it's going.
No. I think I'll merge the calls. Hold on. Beep. Ashley, are you there?
Yep.
All right, Ellis, you're on with Ashley.
Okay. I'll ride it.
I don't believe you. I'll believe it when I see it, Ellis, and I'm never going to see it.
He just laughs. That's his way out of everything. He's like, oh, if I just do the funny little
no,
giggle. It's like a charm
I've ridden
snake.
it before.
Oh, Ellis giggled. All's forgiven. But no, you didn't ride the ride. You chickened out.
Okay.
Okay is not an adequate response.
Everyone on the live wanted to see him ride it, and he didn't do it.
Yeah, okay is not an adequate response to my statement, Ellis. Now let's get back to brass tacks because I'm running out of time. What?
Can I go on and say that I went in it before, but it was a long time ago?
No, you cannot. No, you cannot go on to say that.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Ellis, let's just get back to the important stuff. The real conversation between you two is the Dino Nugget. So I don't know at this point because I told Ashley she could have it and then she would give the Dino Nugget to you. So I'm going to, Ashley, the Dino Nugget is officially yours. The floor is yours as well, although I will need the floor back, unlike the Dino Nugget. And Ellis, plead your case to Ashley as to why she should give you the Dino Nugget. The floor is yours. You have 30 seconds starting now.
Why should she give the Well, I think I'll say that the dinosaur used to traumatize me when I was a young kid.
So the pillow provides you a sense of comfort while also reminding you of your trauma?
Yeah. I don't know what else to say, but that used to terrify me.
But then I would.
That doesn't make me want to give you the dinosaur.
Yeah. If anything, you want to. She wants to preserve. She doesn't want to remind you of your trauma. Is it because you want to believe that dinosaurs can be cute and cuddly, and this would be like this would sort of undo the trauma for you? Is this sort of like a closure moment?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. How would you phrase it?
I don't know. Well, I know it's like soft and cute.
Right. I mean, look, I was gonna say I'm soft and cute, but you can't have me. What? Listen. Mm-hmm. Why do you want this Dino Nugget so bad? And furthermore, why should Ashley give it to you? You have not made a compelling argument, my friend. Listen, if you were in the court of law, this would not be going well for you.
No, it wouldn't.
No, it wouldn't be. At least you know it. No, it wouldn't be.
Yeah.
I mean,
it would not be going well.
I need you to prosecute your case. Think like a lawyer. What would Peter say? What would Peter say right now?
I think it would say the Dino Nugget belongs to Ashley. I think it would say.
What? Really?
Yeah.
I think Peter's got more fight in him than that. All right, listen. Then Ellis, what I'm hearing here is I'm hearing you don't want the Dino Nugget, and you would rather have Ashley have the Dino Nugget.
No, I do want it, but I don't know how else I could argue for it.
I mean, you could start by saying, I want the Dino Nugget, please.
Yeah, I want the Dino Nugget, please.
All right, and then if that doesn't work, I really, really want it.
I really, really want it.
What are you going to do with it?
Here's the thing, though. We all saw on live how quickly he lost his Joe coconut. So I don't think he needs the Dino Nugget.
Oh, that's a really good point. Yeah, you'll lose the Dino Nugget.
Yeah, that is a good point.
Yeah, that's a great point. And listen,
True.
the dinosaurs already went through extinction, so we don't need this dinosaur to revisit his own trauma again.
Yeah. That is a good point, actually.
I'm a dino advocate, and I'm trying to save it from extinction. And if it goes to you, it's going to go extinct. So
yeah.
So I'll take that as a credit.
You'll take the what now?
I'll take it as a credit.
Oh, okay. All right. So listen, you're not getting the dinosaur because you haven't made a compelling argument, and it's Ashley's. And that's it. Maybe if you ride Everest the next time you're in Disney, she'll give you the Dino Nugget.
Okay, deal.
Well, I don't know. She didn't agree. All right. So listen,
I doubt
Ashley,
we'll ever run into each other, but sure, I'll pack it with me on every Disney trip I go on.
Just in case. Now that you have the Dino Nuggets in your possession, I think you should give it back to me so I can put it in the garbage disposal on live later.
I can't be there to watch the live when it happens. Poor little Dino.
Yeah.
But I think sometime down the line we should run into each other at the thing.
I don't think it's going to happen. I think this is as close as you two are ever going to get right here.
No, somewhere down the line.
All right, hold on. I got to Ellis, I got to unseparate the phone line, okay? Hold on. Beep.
Okay.
All right, phone line separate. Is there anything you want me to say to Ashley?
Yeah, sometime I'll see her at the room.
All right, hold on. Ashley, you there?
Yep.
He said he'll see you sometime at Disney World.
I mean, we'll see how that goes. We never go at the same time.
All right. I'll let him know. Ashley, thank you for calling in. I appreciate you. Ellis, thank you for calling in. And Ellis, your check is in the mail, okay?
Okay.
All right. What are you going to do with the check?
I don't know.
You could have bought a Dino Nugget. Lost opportunity. I'll talk to you later, okay? Goodbye.
Okay.
Ellis and Ashley. I love you, Ellis. You just crack me up, man. You are just comedy gold, and I can't even just go 2 seconds after that without you're the gift that keeps on giving. Happy Thanksgiving, Ashley. Happy Thanksgiving, Ellis. I appreciate you. And Ashley, well, you'll be here soon, so I will hand deliver the Dino Nugget to you. White glove service. Now, I said I was going to play a Brian Williams clip, and admittedly, I didn't even feel like setting up the computer today. I just didn't want to do it. I just wanted to hang out and chat with folks. Okay, we're here to chat. So I could have played the clip, and it's the Friday. It's Friday. It feels so like a Friday, but it's the day before Thanksgiving, and as much as I want to sit here and talk about issues and whatnot, I don't want to bring down the back end of the show by getting into all that kind of stuff. But Brian Williams said some things that really resonate with me, and I think maybe if I save those for next week, we'll have that conversation. Brian Williams used to be an NBC newscaster, and there's been a lot of there's been a lot of people looking at the election and trying to go, oh, what happened? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yo, it's not that complicated. So when you hear somebody just speaking the truth, I think it warrants a mention. And it's very, very simple. Working class people need working class solutions. That's just so easy. And I don't know why it has to be overcomplicated. Working class people want working class solutions. And if you're not speaking to that, it doesn't matter what else you're saying. It really doesn't, especially when you look at the sliver, the few percent that have the ability to make the decision. So there's no grand code to crack. I don't even really need to play the clip. The bottom line is working class people want to be heard. The middle class is all but dead in this country. So it's not even politics, man. It's just basic economics and basic humanity. People don't want to have to work, paycheck to paycheck, multiple jobs just to get by, barely be able to take a vacation, let alone afford a vacation. And when they do take a vacation to a place like Disney, not only can they barely afford it, but they probably have to finance it, which means they go into debt. So you're every week you're struggling. Most people are struggling to make ends meet. And then when they finally can break away and breathe, they come back saddled with more debt. And it's this vicious cycle. So rather than play the clip, that's all I want to say. Because it's one of these things that gets so lost in that vilification of the opposition. You don't have to agree with who somebody voted for. You don't have to agree for why somebody voted for somebody. You don't have to agree with somebody's religion. Nothing. You don't have to agree with anybody on anything. But just pure understanding and consideration for coexistence would yield such better results than this divisive approach. So that's my gripe. All right? It's really not a hard code to crack that at the end of the day, working class people are what this country is built on. The middle class is what this country is built on. It's the same thing. The middle class, and you have to speak to those folks. You just do. And if they feel abandoned, they're going to go the other way. It doesn't even really matter what the other offering is. Okay? Because most elections in this country are won on change. Change is usually what people vote for when change is what is being campaigned on. And the pendulum swings. So that's all. It's very important to me. It's one of the recurring themes of the show. Kenzie and I do the pre-recorded podcast on the weekend, and we do our live thing here on the radio together, live on TikTok and YouTube. And the more we do it, the more these themes become apparent to me. When I started this show, before Kenzie was even introduced to the equation, I thought I would call it Under the Influence because I wanted to talk to influencers, content creators, and talk about process so I could sort of learn a little bit more about what I'm doing. But the more it evolved, just by doing what we're doing and then introducing Kenzie into it, it started just to be a conversation about influence as a whole. Not just social media influence, not just legacy media influence, not just leadership influence, not just pop culture influence, but it's everywhere, right? So it's not relegated to just one type of influence. And these reoccurring themes show themselves the more and more we talk in this long-form manner. Middle class, working class issues, taking care of our own, moderation, quality control. Everything is a scam. And that one sounds so trite, but it's so true. Everything's a scam. Insurance is a scam. Everything's a scam. But that, to me, ties to quality. Because one of the things that, and I was talking to, I don't even remember who I was talking to about, the other day with this. It may have been at IAPA. But things used to be built to last. Now things are built with a shelf life, so you have to replace them so that they can project revenue. Remember the Maytag man? The whole shtick with the Maytag man was that he was sitting around doing nothing. Nowadays, that would be considered the worst thing ever for marketing. The whole idea of the Maytag man was he doesn't do anything all day because you don't need to fix it. Their whole marketing campaign was you'll never need to buy another washer again. The Maytag man. We only got one guy. We got Fred. Fred's making the donuts. First of all, I don't know how Fred made the donuts for all those locations at once. I digress. That's very Santa Claus. But the Maytag guy, there was only really legitimately one Maytag guy because they never broke down. That was the shtick. Now, you buy something that's got a shelf life. You buy an Apple iPhone, you can tell over time how it starts to hold less charge, how it starts to have weaker connectivity to the internet, how it starts to slow down on you. Computer devices, they can literally build that in. I mean, programmatically. I mean, they can build that into a fault. So these are the reoccurring themes, and they come up in all these different ways. And you see just now in this little rant of mine how the working class issues feed right back into the Disney side of it all, right back into the American dream, right back into moderation, right back into civil discourse. I mean, it's all connected. So this Thanksgiving, when opinions are at an all-time high, when emotions are at an all-time high, and when everyone is divided as ever, I would just remind you that sometimes the most productive conversations you can have are the ones that are the hardest to have. It takes friction to make motion. So, there will be a lot of arguments at the table. But you can actually have a conversation without arguing. The problem is people get so heated because you don't agree and you don't see it my way. I don't have to see it your way, but I can appreciate the way you see it, even if I don't like it or agree with it, right? You can actually have it both ways. You don't have to agree with something, but you can also appreciate and understand and respect perspective. You don't have to, I can look at something and go, we'll use movies as an example, right? We opened the show talking about movies. I can look at a movie and go, that movie was horrible. The story was bad. The script was horrible. The actors' performances were terrible. But boy, what a technical achievement. Boy, wow, they really push the bound, you can isolate things. So, and that's how we can have, more productive discourse. I don't have to agree with you, but I don't have to hate you because I disagree with you. We can compartmentalize. So, going into the holidays, it gets very, iffy. Folks don't talk to each other. This one didn't invite me. That one didn't invite me. Bottom line is, you can't get everyone to agree with everything anyway. So why argue over it? You might find that in having a difficult conversation, it might actually be interesting. It might be stimulating. And in turn, it might yield a result that you didn't even know was there. Oftentimes that happens just in this format. Like I said, just in talking and having these conversations, themes come out. And then they start to mirror earlier parts of the conversation. And that only happens because I trust the process, because I'm sitting here and having that opportunity with you for long-form dialogue. Right? So that sets the ground for that. But it bums me out, and that's what I said at the top of the show about the holidays. I'm not a Grinch. I love the holiday spirit. I just don't like that it's a good excuse to be kind to each other, but then boom, once it's over, it's over. So I just said that flash in the pan, be kind to your neighbor kind of mentality. I just wish there was a little more of that extended. Look, there's a lot of people that I know and that I talk to in this audience that I'm sure I don't agree with on a lot of things. But it doesn't mean that I shouldn't talk to these people. It doesn't mean that I don't have something to learn. It doesn't mean that there isn't something to gain from differences. So I just want to point that out, sort of in the back end of the show here going into Thanksgiving, that, if you do have that opportunity to have that kind of conversation, be thankful for it. Because so many people are just shielded from even allowing themselves. They've shielded themselves. It's a bubble, right? You put yourself in an echo chamber. So many people don't even have these conversations. I love it. My favorite kind of conversation is a disagreement. And I'm an East Coaster, so it sounds like an argument, but it's really just passionate discourse. And if you're passionate about something and you're from the East Coast, it always sounds like an argument. 253-263-1540, 253-263-1540. I don't know what your plans are for the holidays. I don't know if you're going to the movies to see Moana 2. I look forward to your movie reviews, if it's that or Wicked. So that'll be fun next week when we take calls. I want to hear movie reviews. I want to hear thoughts on Moana. I'm not going to go see it. Like, I'm not going to go pay to go see it. You know, if I stumble across a copy, maybe I'll scope it out. But what I read this morning was, even compared to the direct-to-video sequels of the 90s, it underdelivers. So we'll see. Now, some people are going to say, oh, it's great for kids. And then I saw a comment that said, oh, well, it's a kid's film. And like, how good does it really need to be? And it's like, well, so now you think we shouldn't be dumbing down content to kids. Walt Disney and Jim Henson spoke to kids like they were adults. So we'll see. We'll see. Meanwhile, I don't hear anything but fantastic feedback from Wicked. I know people are tired of talking about Wicked, but I'm still excited to see it. I love The Wizard of Oz. I love the music in Wicked. But Moana 2, I'll wait. I was going to say I'll wait till it comes on Disney Plus. I actually don't even have Disney Plus anymore. I got Disney Plus when you could buy 3 years for, less than $4 a month. I pre-bought it. I put it on my company card at the time for the arcade. And they started hiking up the prices, and I think I paid for it for like a month. You know, so for me, it's kind of thing. If I decided like tomorrow I actually want to watch Star Wars, I'll sign up for a month of Disney Plus. Because if it's $12, it's like the equivalent of renting a movie or something, right? So, okay, I'll pay for a month of access. But I'm not going to sit there and keep it going month to month to month to month. That's how a lot of these streamers are making money. You know, people just have all of these streamers, all of these monthly payments to these streaming services, these subscription services, and they're not even aware of it, you know. And they just every month, and even if you're not watching, they're taken. When I used to pay for Netflix, I spent most of my time perusing the menu, and I'd go hover over a movie, and in my mind, I'd think through the whole movie, and I'd be like, well, now I just thought of the whole movie. Now I don't need to watch it. So I cancel Netflix because I would just watch the menu. 253-263-1540. I joked that Ellis should have called Bob Iger's office. But I really, really, really hope at some point there is actually, and there won't be, but I'm going to be hopeful that there is some sort of comment or statement that comes out sooner than later from Iger or Damaro about Muppet Vision 3D and the future of it. That comment that they made, we're having conversations, lets me know that they're not really having conversations. So I don't expect that they'll have anything to say anytime soon. But if they were smart, they would get out ahead of that and they would announce whatever they're going to do. I wouldn't even be mad if they rescinded the Rock and Roller Coaster re-theme at some point and just said, we're selling the Muppets back to the family. Okay, but you got to announce it. What are you doing with Muppet Vision 3D? And again, I'm going to tell you, if the family doesn't take it, put it in the Smithsonian, and then that will be gangbusters for the Smithsonian. Mark my words. And I'm sure they can find the space at the Smithsonian for Muppet Vision 3D. And that would only be great. The Smithsonian's amazing. I mean, do kids still take field trips out there? We used to take field trips there all the time when I was in elementary school. To the Aerospace Museum, to the Academy of Motion Picture and Television. The Smithsonian, I should go to the Smithsonian myself now that I'm talking about it. So when people say, oh, it's a theme park, not a museum, maybe as a whole. But something like that, something like Muppet Vision 3D that is of historical significance, you don't need to agree with me, right? Reoccurring theme. You don't need to agree with me, all right? But just understand, even if you can't see it, that is historical as pertaining to the legacy of one man. And if you have any understanding of Walt Disney's legacy, it shouldn't be that hard for you to appreciate Jim Henson's legacy. I'm going to do the ads. And we're going to see if we get another call. And if we don't get another call, I'm going to wind down a little early. But if we get another call, we'll keep going. It's the holidays. I know at some point we're going to do a baking live. I committed to do a baking live. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to go to the store. I'm going to get lost in Publix for 3 hours trying to buy all these baking supplies. So then I thought, well, why don't I just go live and like put them in an Instacart or like put them in a Publix like mobile pickup. Because if I go to the store, like I was looking at the list, if I go to the store to buy all the ingredients to make these cookies, I'll be lost forever. I mean, just reading the list, I was like, oh my gosh. Like I'm going to need to bring a water bottle with me. I'm going to be there forever. I may get dehydrated. Get lost in the grocery store. But I think a baking live will be fun. I don't know if I'm going to do that in the next day or two, but it's on my list. I also have to ship out prizes for folks, so lots to do. When we wrap up the show, we'll do a team lift over on TikTok. But let's pay the bills. Are you ready to spice up your kitchen this holiday season? Pampered Chef has all the goodies from spatulas and mandolins to amazing pots, pans, and knives. Plus, don't miss out on small appliances like the deluxe air fryer and coffee maker to make your holiday cooking a breeze. Reach out to Colleen Herman, pamperedchef.com/PWS/Colleen Herman, pamperedchef.com/PWS/Colleen Herman. Are you on vacation and the unthinkable happens? Have you ever been injured in an accident? Don't wait. Get the help you deserve when you need it the most. At the law offices of Nicole M. Kennedy, they fight for your rights and work tirelessly to get you the compensation you deserve. They're here to guide you through every step of the way. Call now, 305-213-5438 for a free consultation today. You don't pay unless you win. 305-213-5438, the law office of Nicole M. Kennedy, your trusted advocate in times of need. Last minute shopping from the parks, go visit my friends at the UPS store. That last minute impulsive purchase that won't fit on an airplane, they will help you out. They are located right behind the Magic Kingdom at 6526 Old Brick Road, 6526 Old Brick Road. Go visit my friends at the UPS store. And if you're local, they've got P.O. boxes and a notary as well. If you are traveling, you can always reach out to William.bailey at William.bailey at academytravel.com or go fill out the travel form on my website. We are planning a group trip to Tokyo Disney. William will help you with all of your planning, whether it's Disney cruises, or just looking to explore. Reach out to William at William.bailey at academytravel.com for competitive rates and a customizable experience. And sometimes we are so worried about this life in this moment, we forget to plan for the life for those we leave behind. With no estate plan, you could be leaving those you love the most with high taxes, probate fees, and incomplete or divided estate and legal fights and fees. A will or trust is not just for the Rockefellers anymore. If you live in Florida, contact RK Law today to make an appointment and safeguard the future of those you love. Send an email to Russell at rklawpro.com. Send an email to Russell at rklawpro.com to schedule your appointment today. Thank you to all of our sponsors. We have 5 sponsors on the show. They are with us through the remainder of the year. Thank you for that. You know, part of building this new foundation, this new enterprise, is diversification, which is another way of saying moderation, reoccurring theme. And for me, it's important to start to diversify revenue streams so that I'm safeguarded from TikTok going away, from Disney banning lives, whatever it may be. 3.5+ years into this, if I'm not looking at diversification, then I haven't succeeded at what I'm doing. And in my opinion, and I'm thankful for this on this Thanksgiving, I have gone to the top of Disney Park live streaming and succeeded in a way that many never will. And as marginal as that is in the grand scheme of things, and I truly believe it is, so I don't say that to brag, I say that to be accurate. I look at that achievement and I go, great, what's next? And that's in the true spirit of Walt Disney. Every time he had a success, he said, what's next? Not let's recreate it. Let's dare to be different. So we're daring to be different here. Conventional wisdom says keep doing what you're doing and don't disrupt it. If it's not broke, don't fix it. I say you got to break it to make it better, to make it stronger, to build it up. So that's what we're doing. And I appreciate you sticking with me. To those that have been with me from day one and experiencing the shift, while we're not abandoning our principles, we are just engaging in a different manner. And I really do love the format for radio. I love Keena calling in and being able to not just laugh, but have serious conversation about real issues. And we can use not just Disney, but we can use laughter and comedy as a vessel to inform and to educate. And I love, love, love comedy as a tool to inform and educate. So I'm going to leave you with that. We're going to wrap up a little early today. I appreciate you all so much. I hope you have a happy, happy Thanksgiving. And I will see you soon.